Howdy guys, it's Joe here, and with D.Va getting the nerf in the brand new patch, a lot of people were kind of thinking, you know, the tank meta will very quickly disappear, but it's kind of gotten a little bit of a revival, and some people have figured out some really good tanks that you can bring into this brand new patch. So here's what I see as one of the better, one of the better comps to go with, and it kind of continues that tank meta. Now, I say tank meta because this comp uses 3 tanks. Luckily though, it doesn't use 4 tanks. That was really cancer. No one would really like that. But yeah, we use 3 tanks right now in the meta that seems to be working at least really well higher up. As well, this meta, or I guess this comp, is a little bit easier to counter than the last tank comp, just because D.Va was so hard to counter. She was just really broken, honestly. So with that kind of out of the way, we can talk a bit about the comp that we have right now. And what it actually turns out to be is Roadhog. Again, he's still in this because his damage is so good, his pick potential is so good. We have Reinhardt, because of course he can push up. He's always going to be one of the best characters. And then finally we have Zarya. And Zarya was one of those characters that we actually got to see quite a bit in the other tank meta. And we saw some Zarya and some Winston, but mostly Zarya. But with the fact of, D.Va getting nerfed, I feel like Zarya really has a much better time to shine, because Zarya very hard counters Roadhog. He does pretty good against Reinhardt, or she does. And as well with this, now with D.Va not being able to blast as much damage and stop as much damage, Zarya can kind of burn through D.Va a lot faster, so none of the other tanks really do way too amazing versus her, which is really great in this meta. As well with this though, some of the nice thing about the counterplay is that Zarya, of course, isn't like a super mobile, super tanky person like D.Va, so she can still get countered by people like Widow somewhat, people like Soldier somewhat, and people like McCree somewhat, depending on how your team goes in and all that different stuff, because her effective range isn't so great and she doesn't have too much mobility. So I'd say that's kind of cool. But yeah, she's becoming a lot better, simply because she can do well versus all the tanks, and the only tank that she really had big troubles with was D.Va, who now is just kind of getting out of there. As well, it's really nice as with D.Va somewhat out of the way, she's still going to be played, but somewhat out of the way, there won't be as much damage on shields, or at least we thought. But with Zarya being picked up more, that'll probably also be one of the characters that does a lot of shield damage. Now, other than just simply being a strong character and pretty much just replace the character of D.Va, what else makes Zarya pretty good right now? Well, let's say the fact that she has a bit of own self-sustain, mainly being her shields. She can take some damage, run away for a little bit, and then regenerate those things back up, which is kind of nice because right now, with Ana, with her nerf on that damage, or I guess not the damage, with her nerf on that healing, it's a little bit hard for you to fully heal all the tanks all the time right now. It takes a second more. So having people like Roadhog that can kind of self-heal, and having people like Zarya that can kind of self-heal, well, you only really have to 100% focus on that Reinhardt because he can't, and then help both the other guys as well. So overall, I'd say it really kind of works in a great tandem. As well with this, having D.Va nerfed does really help Zarya in the fact that D.Va could just kind of eat up her ults. And honestly, if the D.Va was playing decently or really quite well, she could eat up those ults, and it would really hurt the Zarya player. Zarya couldn't get really made too many great ults off, but with D.Va somewhat out of the way, it really helps. And often even as Zarya, if you got a good ult, well, D.Va could just right click and block all your damage. So now all that's gone, and Zarya really does have the time to kind of shine right now. She has a lot of damage, decent amount of range, and of course she's very tanky, and she counters a lot of the other characters in the game. And I feel like one of the really best parts about her is that she really supports your damage dealers as well. I feel like we will be getting a few more damage dealers, maybe 1 or 2, depending on how the supports decide to play it out. But it's really nice to have a Zarya on your team. You can give, for example, your McCree a shield, you can give, for example, your Soldier a shield, and especially with Soldier, I feel like it's very effective, as a lot of times, Soldier might be dived by someone like Tracer, Soldier might be dived by someone like Genji, maybe not always, but sometimes, or just other people trying to get backline, trying to get to that Soldier. But if you can shield him, you can protect him, you can really help your team do a lot better. So that's where I feel like she really fits in right now, and why, Zarya is going to be one of the best characters that's going to join this meta right now. Now, as well with this, other than just the 3 tanks themselves, I feel like we're also going to be seeing a lot of Soldier 76. Of course, we've already been seeing a lot of this guy, and then it'll probably end up being Lucio and Ana. Now, Ana might switch for Zenyatta, but I feel like Zenyatta and Lucio's ults together, while they can be strong if they're both very strong characters, I feel like that much damage mitigation isn't always so much important as having a character like Ana that can just boost your team and you can, wipe the enemy team. Sometimes you need to wipe instead of just blocking a lot of damage. So I guess it'll really just kind of have to wait for that. Ana might still be the best support. Well, she's probably going to be the second best. But yeah, Ana still will probably be pretty good. Maybe get mixed up somewhat with Zenyatta. And as well with that, we're probably going to see a lot of Lucio, because with one less tank, Lucio is that much more effective. Lucio's really actually quite bad at healing tanks, but very good at healing lower HP people. So if we have one less tank, or one tank that has a little bit less HP, that being Zarya compared to D.Va, and HP that takes less time to recover, that being Shield compared to Armor, I feel like the chance of Lucio being played, and being played a lot, is going to highly increase. And as well, Lucio does pretty well against squishies because he can kind of go without offense Lucio and kill them. So I feel like that's really what the meta is going to be. 2 supports, 3 tanks, and probably a soldier, maybe a McCree, maybe a Widow, maybe a Pharah, just kind of any flex pick that you could think about. Now, of course, on defense, we might be seeing a little bit of Mercy as well, but yeah, I'd say that's overall what you should be expecting in this new tank meta. Honestly, you know, I really do kind of wish that the tanks were a little bit worse. I wish mainly that the offense heroes were a little bit better, that they would deal a little bit more damage against tanks. But I don't know how to balance that without having the offense heroes just completely maul tanks. So yeah, that's all I really have to say. Anyways, tell me guys what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think this is what the meta is going to turn out to be? I've personally been seeing this a lot right now, but maybe it's just kind of spreading over from the last meta. People are just used to tanks, so they're just continuing to play them, and maybe really tanks aren't really way too hot anymore. I don't know. This is just my own opinion, and if you do agree, make sure to hit that like button. Comment down below what you think down below, though. I really would like to hear you guys' opinion. As always, though, guys, subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and have a wonderful day.